So here's an entertaining one about a born-again Christian wife who was having a meltdown because her husband found out about her past after her sins were washed away, if you will. Turns out that she did some adult content back in the day when she was younger, videos and all that, and of course they're out there for the world to see. And he finds them, and now he's thinking about ending it with her, and she's losing her freaking mind over this, thinking that, hey, that's the old me, I was forgiven by the Lord, so you should too, blah, 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 blah. Title: My husband found the videos from my past. She says, hey everyone, this is a throwaway for obvious reasons. My husband, a 29-year-old male, and I have been married for almost 2 years now, and although we've had a few struggles, we've enjoyed the life we built together as we plan on having kids in the future. I need to mention that I came to Christ at 26 years old. I am born again, and unlike some in the U.S. who have been Christians all their lives, I have a bit of a rocky past starting from my childhood being in an unstable home. When I was 21 years old, as a junior in college, I made 2 small amateur adult videos with a relatively known adult film company. And she says, who I will not name as to remain private and prevent others from sinning. Who at the time reached out to me through a man on Instagram offering me a modeling job in my area. I was naively looking for attention in all the wrong areas and trying to find an easy way to make money, and I accepted the offer. So I'm sure she had another job at the time and other ways to make money legitimately without, but no, she put in there, I was naively looking for attention. It always boils down to attention and validation. Recently, this only became important after my husband, who I love with all my heart, wanted to know more about my past. Before we were married, we only talked about our past together, and he told me that he was a virgin, and I told him that I had been with 5 previous partners, 2 of which were in committed relationships in my late years in high school and a freshman year in college. So obviously he lied, and gee, he has a reason to be upset about this upon finding out the truth. He told me he was fine with that, and that he believed if Christ had forgiven me, then he shouldn't hold against me either, so we got married. So that whole part about if Christ had forgiven you, then I shouldn't hold against you either. That what he meant was her obviously having relations with other guys, not about her doing PORN. And by the way, her saying I had 5 previous partners, we all know darn well. Way bigger than that. Come on. Only now he wanted to know about the other 3 men, which I never explicitly told him about. After a week of him continuously asking me about it, I reluctantly told him the truth that when I was in college, I foolishly made 2 adult films, the first with a single male partner, and the second I was with 2 male partners simultaneously. Yeah, not a thing a guy wants to hear about. And while yes, this guy should have dug ahead of time, still, she obviously left these things. If she knew he was this type of person, she had no darn well he would not take it too well. If he found out after getting married to her, this is the type of stuff she did. She knew that. And she wanted to rope him in, get a ring on her finger, be married. And then if it came out, well, he doesn't want to divorce me now because he's so in love with me. He laughed if I was joking at first, but then immediately got silent as he was in shock. And after a few moments, asked me the names of the videos. I told him I wasn't going to tell him the videos as they weren't a reflection of who I am now in Christ as his wife and the future mother of his children. I wouldn't hold your breath of being the future mother of his children. He then asked me the name of the company that I work for, and I told him. The next day, I came in from work only to find him at the kitchen table watching both of the videos of me, and when I asked him not to look up at them. We got into a big argument with him yelling at me, asking why I never told him about my past, and I told him that it was a part of me that I wanted to let go and stay dead, and that him bringing it up breaks trust. So he's the bad guy here. You bringing this up breaks the trust. No, you broke my trust by not mentioning this ahead of time. I told him that I loved him and that I don't do these things anymore. They were mistakes, and that now I'm a new creature in Christ and my sins are forgiven. Well, the JC may have forgiven you. That's his department. I'm a mortal soul sinner, and that ain't my department. So tough shit. So notice it was my past, so it shouldn't matter anymore. Bullshit. The past matters. He said that I was basically a PORN star, which isn't true at all. It only happened twice. And if he'd known about my past, he would never have married me. I never cried so much than I had my entire life. That was a week ago, and since then he left me to stay with his parents' house and hasn't spoken to me since until today. Can you blame him? Well, of course she's not going to blame him because, it's all about her, and she's born again, and therefore that stuff never happened in her eyes. He came home and said we needed to talk. When I saw him, I immediately rushed over and tried to come into his arms and tried to kiss him, but he softly pushed me away. Softly? I think a lot of guys would be like, ugh! They'd be making the sign of the cross in front of her after learning what they heard. He told me he's been thinking and told me I'd broken his trust, and because of me not telling him about my past, he doesn't know if he can trust me at all. I told him that he can trust me, that those videos were from almost a decade ago, and I've never hidden anything from him. You hid all that, and I guarantee you that there's plenty more that she's hidden. All gals have skeletons in their closets. Some have entire cemeteries, and this gal probably has not only a cemetery in her closet, probably all the freaking ghosts and goblins are doing the fucking Thriller dance in her closet. That's how many skeletons and ghouls and goblins are in her closet here. He said he came home to pack up a bag and go back to his parents' house. So he doesn't want to divorce me as we're both Christians, but he can't be in the same house with me right now. I've prayed, but I don't know what to do. Well, you better keep praying, honey. I'm ashamed of my past life, and I don't do any of these things anymore. I didn't tell him about this part of my life because I loved him and wanted him to marry me. So, I get we make mistakes when we're younger. We all do dumbass things when we're young. We regret. Fair enough. But if you're going to get involved with somebody, you got to tell them. All right? I'm okay with her not regretting her actions. Fair enough. I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with her hiding it from him and making him out to be the bad guy because he has an issue with it. That's the problem here. And of course the whole, well, it never really happened because I was forgiven. How do I fix my marriage and how do I get back to where I once was? Any advice would be appreciative. And she says, neither me or my husband condone any S-word sin or PORN whatsoever. Well, pray for guidance. You have to wait and see. Flip a coin. He may divorce you, he may not. But if he gives you a second chance, you better be very honest with everything he asks about. And be very willing to, even if it's uncomfortable. And you better be your best freaking behavior going forward. That's if he takes you back. He may not. He may say, you know what? It's been 2 years. You know who I thought you were. End of story. And you accept that. But something tells me she probably won't. Anyhow, guys, this is a perfect example. You got to really do your homework and who you get involved with if you're going to marry. And ladies, any girls that watch this, you got to be open with your guy. And even if it's uncomfortable and you think you may lose him because one way or another, the past always comes out. Always. That's what these stories constantly show time and time again. But unfortunately, a lot of people simply just do not ever learn.